Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Andrea Giraldo. Welcome to Meetings of the Minds, brought to you by the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in partnership with BronxNet. This show was created in direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to highlight the work of our members and partners, as well as to understand the resources they have to help our community in those difficult times. Today, we'll be diving into a special roundtable on real estate and banking with East West Bank, hosted by New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Real Estate Chair Greg Tsougranis. Take it away, Greg.
And hello to everyone home watching Meeting of the Minds. I'm your host, Greg Tsougranis, the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Real Estate Chair. For this roundtable discussion, we'll talk about banking and real estate. So joining me in this discussion is the Vice President and Mortgage Business Manager for East West Bank, the Community Outreach Mortgage Business Development Officer. And they join us to speak about services their organization is offering to the community and discussion on how they're empowering business and business owners. Please welcome to the show Marita Bankhead and Juan Cueto. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Now, just as a side note, I've known Juan Cueto for almost 20 years since I am a real estate broker. And he is one of, if not the dominant CRA banker in New York City.
Appreciate that.
All right. And it was a pleasure meeting you at all of our New York City Hispanic Chamber of events.
Yes.
And you know what, you guys are doing a lot of good for the community that we're going to go into in full.
Yes.
But let's just show a quick video of East West Bank so you guys can get a better feel. And then we'll start our conversation about the services that your bank offers and all the good you do for the community on the banking side in real estate.
Great.
The strongest bridges start with a solid foundation and lead to extraordinary places. Those are the bridges we've built for more than 50 years, connecting families and businesses to better opportunities. Today, we're the premier financial bridge between East and West, ready to serve your needs wherever you do business. We're a cultural bridge that brings people together, forging new connections that lead to a shared understanding. We're a bridge to success for our customers, giving them the support and guidance to grow their businesses. We're a bridge to what's possible for every community we serve, carrying people and hopes forward. Our sense of purpose has pushed us forward as we've grown along with our customers. We're now one of the largest independent banks headquartered in California. We're consistently ranked as a top-performing bank with sound financial stewardship, and more than 3,000 dedicated associates play an active role in making an impact on our communities. The strongest bridges are built to last, generation after generation. They connect opportunity with achievement, people with possibilities. Building strong financial and cultural bridges is our calling. Together, we'll continue to build new bridges that give everyone the confidence to reach further.
Okay, so that's the basic standard that everyone can find on your website. Do you want to add anything extra about the bank or about your personal selves so that we could get a better feel for East West Bank, who you guys are and what your guys' goals are?
Great. Yes, I'd like everyone to know that East West Bank is involved within the 5 boroughs of New York City. We're celebrating 52 years. We're a mid-sized bank, but we are publicly traded on NASDAQ. And we have 6 branches located throughout New York City, 2 in Manhattan, 2 in Brooklyn, 2 in Queens. And we service 7 states, which are our territory within the U.S. Basically, our programs here in the city and throughout, we have specialized programs for community housing. So community outreach, lending opportunities for the residents within the 5 boroughs and within our territories. I'm happy today that Juan and myself are here in the presence of BronxNet and on your program, this wonderful program, Meeting of the Minds.
All right, Juan, is there anything that you want to add?
Absolutely. So to seconding what Marita mentioned, so we are very active in the community. One of the things that we try to do is to promote affordable lending, especially now in New York City with continuing rising costs of housing. So we have some products that allows us to bridge that gap, especially with providing loans with low interest rates and affordable pricing, and be able to work with several of the HDFCs, co-ops, and condos disseminated all across the city.
The first time I heard of East West Bank was years ago. It was mostly the older Italian men that are from the community, because I believe you guys had a branch down in Little Italy or in the Chinatown area.
Correct.
But now I'm seeing you guys are making a strong headway, and we're beginning to do a lot. I'm a real estate broker partner in the Keller Williams office right here in the Bronx, and I'm seeing that you guys are becoming the go-to bank in terms of getting the loans done, and also I'm seeing a lot of other banks are kind of tightening up on their restrictions. Like now I'm seeing that a lot of the co-ops, they're being scrutinized, and a lot of that has to do with a lot of the legislation dealing with the facade work.
Right.
And I just see that your bank is coming in as playing a very crucial role in the community. And in some ways, it's making assets that might be hard to finance financeable. So, in a way, by me having you come here and having this discussion, you guys are almost like my secret little weapon. When other brokers can't get the deal done, I know who to call.
Right.
All right, and you guys don't have too much emphasis on the building side. A lot of people don't know that when you go for financing for a co-op or a condo, the individual has to be able to get financing based on his strength. But now, if the bank scrutinizes the financials too much on the building side, especially now with a lot of the facade work that is being mandated, or a lot of the repairs that are being done, it seems as if a lot of the other banks are shying away.
Yes.
But East West Bank is making very bold moves to move into the community, and it's helping a lot of people.
Yes.
And I also find them to be not difficult to deal with.
Oh, that's a plus. Very good to hear.
That's me as a broker speaking to you.
Yes.
All right,
good
so
to know that.
let's go into some of these programs, because I mentioned before that you were, for 20 years, basically dealing as a CRA banker, and I
Correct.
believe that that's why East West Bank reached out to you,
Correct.
because they wanted you to lead and basically open up the CRA market. Can you explain exactly what a Community Reinvestment Act banker is,
Sure.
how that fits into somebody benefiting from programs that are out there that they don't know about?
Sure. So let's start by explaining briefly what CRA is, right? CRA stands for Community Reinvestment Act. So it's a law that requires all lenders who have presence in the community to give back to the community. It could be through financial education, it could be to affordable banking, or it could be through affordable lending as well, or business banking. So the part that I am involved with is on the affordable lending side. So what does that mean? That means that we have tools. The standard mortgage banking process requires a certain amount of credit scores, or a certain amount of debt to income ratio, or a certain amount of down payment. So what we do differently is that we provide less restrictions, less requirements, so less a requirement. Instead of doing 20% down, we have options of 3 to 5% down. Instead of working with 750 credit scores, we can work with credit scores as low as 660. Instead of requiring 2 to 3 years worth of income documentation, we only need 1. Right? So the whole idea of it is to be able to provide more people the ability to be able to afford and to be able to buy a home, to be able to get that piece of the American pie.
I want to emphasize something, all right? Because again, there's two sides to the mortgage, and you really help people, because if the banks start denying co-ops because of financial situation, and they get more and more stringent, you could basically take an asset and turn it into a non-mortgageable asset. So
Right.
you guys are one of the dominant banks that are basically allowing people to basically finance. And you know what, I'm going to commend you again. Let's go into some of the banking programs that you have available, because you mentioned over here bridge to home ownership, designed to
Right.
serve credit-worthy low to moderate income borrowers with low down payment options and flexible sources of funding options. You want to go deeper into that? You want to elaborate a little bit more? Is there anything else
Sure.
you want to say? Like, for example, do you waive the PMI if they put down 3% or 5%?
We
don't.
do. That with the Bridge to Home Ownership, we do. So basically, the Bridge to Home Ownership program is basically our tip of spear of our programs that we offer our first-time home buyers. So this program allows us to work with co-op condos, one single families and two families with only 3% down and no mortgage insurance requirement. I don't really like to get into the rate piece because the rate may change on a daily basis, but our rates tend to be very affordable, and we don't charge additional point fees that will actually gross up the
Correct.
closing costs.
That's right.
The whole purpose of this grant is to be able to promote mortgage home buying, to be able to allow more people to be able to become
Okay, and
homeowners.
just to be full disclosure, and I assume that then the bank gets CRA credits. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is it. It mostly depends. So CRA credits are the law requires the bank to be able to do a certain amount of loans every year. You know, for every regular loan that the bank does, there's a certain amount of CRA loans that we have to. So these CRA loans would need to fit certain criteria, whether on the income from the buyer or where the property is located at. That's basically one of the most parameters that we're looking for. Yes, that allows us to be able to obtain those credits as well.
Okay, good. So the next thing I see, you have a bridge out of debt micro HELOC. Now, HELOC is a home equity loan,
That's correct.
correct.
That's correct.
but basically it's a home equity line of credit up to $25,000, offering the borrower the option to utilize the equity line towards down payment and or closing costs on a purchase of a refinance.
That's correct. Not only that, they can couple it with the primary mortgage, just to bridge to home ownership. If the client doesn't have enough resources for down payment and closing costs, we can use the $25,000 and apply towards it.
That's
Correct.
very interesting.
Yes.
So what you're basically saying is that you could buy this property and you could borrow against the property to buy the property, even though you don't own the property yet.
Correct. Correct. So, for example, another thing, one of the biggest uses about that is really this program was created to help, to assist, especially people who are in need, especially seniors, people who retire, people who need, or anybody that is struggling with credit or has too much debt. The bridge out of debt product allows us to also separately, individually. Main requirement is the person has to live in the property and has to own the property, right? In the event that they already own, aside from using it on the purchase transaction. What I see the most use of it is when people are trying to combine and they're trying to reduce their costs. They have too much debt paying into 20%. You know, the rate is far reduced on that bridge out of debt program. So people can use it and consolidate the debt into one thing. If they are behind on the property taxes, if they want to get a new boiler, you know, they don't
Correct.
have the necessary
Yes. funds
funds to take care of that. This is a product that turnaround time is less than a month. The process is very streamlined, meaning that we don't require as much documentation as you do on a primary mortgage. So the
Correct.
whole sense of it is something that makes me really proud of working with East West Bank is the fact that we can use that to actually help, and you can see the actual assistance.
So not only can you use the $25,000 to put a HELOC or a mortgage on the property you don't even own yet to help you with the financing to acquire the property.
That's correct.
But you also can maybe consolidate some of your high credit card debt into a lower
reduce
interest
it.
rate. So what would a typical HELOC, I assume it's variable, like
Correct.
most HELOCs are?
Yes, that's correct.
Correct. So it's a variable rate product, especially, but in this case we call it micro because the maximum cap is 25,000.
Yeah.
So the amortization period for this product is, aside the traditional line of credit, which is normally 20 to 30 years. In this case, it's only for 7 years, 84 months. For the initial 2 years, the person can use this as a revolving line, meaning that as they pay it down, they can reuse the funds again. And we don't put a limit as to what purpose they can use it for. It's really up to them. And then after the initial 24 months end, the customer has up to 5 years to
5
pay
years,
off the
correct.
remaining
It's a
portion.
7-year term.
Okay, so a lot of banks, when they do a HELOC, they ask for an appraisal to be done. They might do like an AI appraisal, a bank appraisal. But since you're buying the property, there's no fee, I assume, for
Right.
the HELOC appraisal.
This whole
because
thing-
it's being done.
This whole product doesn't have any cost to the client. No application fees, no. We do
Correct.
conduct appraisals. We do conduct desktop appraisals or electronic appraisals, but we don't pass down the expense to the client. There is no closing cost in this transaction, so it's basically no cost to it.
Which is amazing because the HELOCs, I've heard some banks charge as much as the standard rate that I'm seeing is like 2,000, some 3,000.
Right. 24. I would say the average between 25 to 3,500.
So you're saying that with this micro HELOC, I mean, it's not a large amount, it's 25K, but it's enough to get you into the house, and there's no fees attached to it.
Correct. Now, we do charge an administrative fee on a yearly basis for only about close to about $100. That may change.
Okay.
But that's really no expense out of the client. If the client doesn't use it, they don't pay any interest on it. If they don't use it, another thing that I need to point out is that they only pay on the amount they actually get to borrow. If you think of a credit card, it's basically the same thing, but it has the property as a collateral.
Okay, so now the property needs a new boiler. Can they fix the boiler with it also? Can it take care of some of maybe streamline things that would usually be done under a 203 rehab loan, like something like that? Like, does it mix in with that at all?
Yeah, so basically, the way how it works is that borrower can withdraw the funds and they can make whatever use of it. So we won't put a limit as to what they cannot do. Once the loan is funded, the client has the ability of opening an account with us and transferring the funds there, and they can make the withdrawals and make the payments back just like you would do with a regular.
So
credit.
again, this is amazing because I've been in the business 25 years. I really haven't seen this.
Yeah.
You're basically saying that you could basically mortgage the property you don't own yet in order to help you buy the property.
Correct.
Now, how much would you have to put down? Because you still need to put down something, I assume.
So the minimum down payment in all properties, 1 to 2 families, co-ops, and condos, is only 3% down. So
can I use the HELOC in order to come up to 3%? Can I
Yes, you
come
can.
up with? Can I basically do 0% financing?
in the virtual home ownership, you have a minimum requirement out of your pocket to be 1%.
Correct. That's
So
to be
another
clear.
thing that you can do is that you can have family members that want to help out, want to give you some funds. You can use those towards that. And
So money could be gifted also.
money can be
Yes.
That 1% could even be gifted to you. It doesn't have to be seasoned in your bank account.
no, you need to have some teeth in the game. So that 1% has to come out of your pocket. But the remaining 2% out of the 3 could be a gift, or it could be grants, or it could be.
Okay, so basically, most people, haven't heard the term before in banking, but you have the seasoned money that you need to have in your bank for 30, 60, 90 days could be 1%,
Correct.
and the other 2
Can be from
come
other
from the
sources.
HELOC
Could come from the HELOC or could come
Other
from
sources.
other sources.
or gifted. So really, if you have
Right.
1% of the value of a co-op for $100,000, you could actually,
That's correct.
yeah.
I do have to say the caveat, right? It all depends. This is what the bank requires, but most of the time we have to subject ourselves to whatever the co-op requires,
Correct.
which is a different
True,
process.
true. Co-ops usually want 10 or 20% down, so
Correct.
I apologize for that. I was just using it as an example.
Correct.
Correct.
So as long as the co-op allows it, yes, we can do it 100%.
Yeah, but most
Yes.
co-ops won't, to be honest.
I,
Yeah.
I do also want to make a point about the versatility of this program. So, for instance, you mentioned you needed a boiler fix. If you're a homeowner and you need a boiler fix, this program is perfect. It's no cost to you, minimal cost, I should say. And you borrow those funds up to $25,000, you get your boiler fixed. You fix whatever emergency you have. You have a small violation from Department of Buildings or DEP or whatever it might be. Then you can use this product. It's a perfect product to secure that financing to take care of those needs.
Okay. All right. So again, okay, so let's go on to the next product because that's kind of amazing. I really haven't come into contact with people mortgaging properties they don't own yet in order to help buy the property. That's a very innovative idea. And another example why you guys are making a lot of headway in the low-income areas. You really are making a difference. Okay, now let's talk about Bridge to Home Loan, a streamlined program designed for borrowers who have a large down payment. What's that all about?
So basically, you want to...
Sure, I'll take that one. So the Bridge to Home Loan is essentially, like you said, it's streamlined. Minimal documentation. There's no FICO requirement. We require 1-year tax returns or a P&L. We don't require W-2s. We can qualify you based on assets. So any kind of asset that we can determine value from can be used to prove eligibility for the program. So this works great for people that have entity. If you're an investor and you have multiple properties you own, we can finance up to 8 of those properties. We let you go through the process. It's much easier than having to present 2 years tax returns and other documentation that comes along with self-employment or a real estate person who has many properties that they own. So our applicants that are coming through this program are mostly those that may be self-employed or investors, as I've mentioned, and they're able to go through the process much faster at minimal documentation and financing up to $2 million on that loan program or through that loan program.
So this is also very important, all right, because a lot of times as a broker, right, either on the sell side or on the buy side, I'm assuming it's a 40% down. Is that what you're looking for?
We 50, so it's 50% down. Of course, we can have flexibility with folks. 50% down traditionally, and we'll find up to $2 million. And it could be a refinance if you have equity in your home. Refinance or purchase, it doesn't matter. Primary or investment. 1 to 4 family.
So this is really something that, as a broker, when I get offers for homes, a lot of the investor homes, or maybe a house that might have some bank curable items, right? You know, there's some banks that will, nitpick the deal to death, and I know it won't happen. And then there are other banks, like your bank, and that's why the old Italian men who buy buildings, they always come to me with East West Bank pre-approvals, right? But the point is that it's almost, you could offer the same amount of money for a property to a listing agent, but because it's East West Bank and because they know that the paperwork is not going to be, not going to be laborious and everything else like that, the deal gets done. Right. So a lot of times, as a real estate broker, part of my job is to know who gets the deal done, and that's how I kind of started this conversation before. So not only are you helping the first-time home buyer, but you're also an asset for a broker or for a person who wants to buy a property, because you get the deal done. And again, it's like you put down 50%, you got equity in the game. You guys are willing to take the risk on the other 50%, the other equity.
Yes.
All right. So basically, it's a very aggressive product, and it helps people not only become first-time home buyers, but also it helps people on the larger side in order to get the deal, because they know the bank can get the deal done, and they're not going to, basically drop the ball at the last minute.
Right. They can go to us as a reliable source.
Right.
One of the things that I've been very successful lately is exactly that, because we're able to finance a lot of co-ops that most of the major lenders who go to use a major agencies such as like your Fannie Mae, your Freddie Macs, that won't be able to back out. We have been able to assist them. One thing that I do want to mention about the products that we mentioned earlier is that we're limited to the 5 boroughs. So unfortunately, we can't branch out to outside counties, outside of the 5 boroughs. So that will be our main limitation there. So I just wanted to make sure I pointed it out.
Now, with these programs, do they have to take a first-time home buyer's course?
Yes. And we can also talk a little bit about which grants we compare the loan program with.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so this is the Bridge to Home Ownership is a first-time home buyer program. So first-time home buyer program is basically anybody that has not owned a home within the last 3 years. However, we can make an exception that people can also use this product to buy a primary residence, already owning another property. So as long as they intend to occupy the property that they're buying through this product as their primary home, we can allow them to own a home. That's one of the main
That's
exceptions.
huge. That's huge, because a lot of times they say you're a first-time home buyer. That's it. I bought a house. I sold it.
Yes.
I moved. But you're saying that even that criteria is a bit lax, because it's limited to 3 years.
Correct. Another thing is that the debt-to-income ratio limit that we can use can go up to 55%.
Wow.
So when we combine that with not charging MI, mortgage insurance, and only doing 3% down, we can get a lot more people approved for higher loan amounts that through many other banks who have debt-to-income caps of 45 and 50%.
Let me just break that down, all right? Because there's something in the industry. Either you have a front-end ratio, you have a front-end ratio, and you have a back-end ratio.
Correct.
So a lot of the times, a lot of the banks won't go above 45, 48. That's like a standard.
Correct. 48, 50.
But you're saying is that which is basically your income to debt ratio. Now the back end ratio is basically when you factor in the mortgage. The front end ratio is when you don't factor in the mortgage, from my understanding.
And whatever debts you may have showing up on your credit report.
Right. So basically, the back end ratio is very important. And as a real estate broker, I always ask, give me a ballpark for the back end ratio so that I know that you're inside the limits based on the program. So if I got a pre-approval from East West Bank and somebody's at a 45% back end ratio, it might be iffy with a different bank But with East West Bank, it's going to go through because you have a higher income to debt ratio, which
Correct.
means
Right.
that you can have more debt after you buy the property.
Correct.
Correct.
We're still, our focus is to make sure that we are lending responsibly, right? We make sure that that the debt and that they meet the some credit criteria, that we can actually verify the income and the strength of the income and how long the person has been receiving that same source.
Yes,
So we try to make sure that we meet that we're doing some assigned investment in as to
Right.
every transaction. So,
Yes.
but this whole thing is, especially here in New York, because this is designed especially for New York, because New York is a high cost area, high cost, low inventory area, and we noticed that co-ops is very the way how we can allow people to become homeowners, and this is the way, using something that would allow us to have that kind of flexibility that allow us to get in.
Okay,
Yes.
we're almost at the end of our session, so did you want to say anything to wrap
Yes,
this up?
I want to make one more point. The bridge to home loan, and you were talking about being flexible with our debt to income ratio. That's even more. We have a higher threshold with the bridge to home loan as well. So as long as if you're have sufficient assets and you're willing to put 50% in, we'll finance the other 50%, and then you have more flexibility with your debt to asset ratio, and you're still qualifying higher than what other people. As long as you're a quality borrower, that's all we're concerned with, and we'll help.
Okay, so I think I gave away my secret weapon here and how I get deals done and other brokers can't. All right, but it's all good. It's all the good for the community. So
Yes.
let's see. So once again, our friends from East West Bank, thank you for coming. You could visit them and reach out to them at eastwestbank.com. Check out their Facebook and Instagram at East West Bank US, or connect with them on Twitter, LinkedIn, eastwestbank.com. So that's a wrap, and it was a pleasure interviewing the both of you, and thank you for all the good that you do in the community.
Thank
you,
you.
Greg.
It's our pleasure to
Appreciate
be
it.
here. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So also the emails, all right? So you want to tell us your email, tell us your phone numbers?
Sure.
Okay?
So my email, just to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the email
Just
is
the email, just the email.
Yeah. Yes.
email it will be Juan Juan.Cueto at eastwestbank.com.
And my email is Marita, Marita .Bankhead, BANKHEAD at eastwestbank.com.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank our guests, Marita and Juan, for joining us, and you, our viewers, for tuning in and checking us out. Keep following BronxNet TV for continued coverage. If you're not a member of the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, you can visit us at hispanicchamber.nyc. Once again, that is hispanicchamber.nyc. You can also engage with us on LinkedIn at New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, all spelled out. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Meetings of the Minds in partnership with BronxNet. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.